All right, let's dive into the world of Thomas Cook India, Ltd., and their Q2 FY25 financials. Fresh out on November 13th, 2024.
Hot off the press, yeah.
We've got a lot to unpack: company announcements, a full financial report, even their investor presentation.
The whole shebang. So we'll be looking beyond just the numbers.
Exactly. What's the strategy here? What's it say about the travel industry in India?
Maybe even some hints about the wider economy, right? And keep in mind, these results are for the quarter ending September 30th.
So not peak travel season.
Not exactly. Adds another layer to think about.
Makes their performance even more interesting. And the board of directors officially signed off on these, so they're serious.
Oh, absolutely. What they're seeing is strong, exceeding expectations even. Consolidated profit before tax, that's PBT, it's up 37% year on year.
Whoa, that's huge.
Landed at ARD's 1,063 million.
Not just a fluke either. First half of the fiscal year, PBT is up 26%. That's RA's 2,136 million.
Suggests that they're riding this wave, but doing it strategically.
Yeah, capitalizing on the travel rebound. To understand that strategy, though, we got to look at Thomas Cook India today.
It's not your grandma's travel agency anymore.
Right. 4 main segments they operate across now.
Let's break them down.
First up, financial services. Think foreign exchange, that sort of thing.
Then there's the classic travel and related services. Holidays, corporate travel.
And ICE, meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions, the whole shebang.
Got it. Then you've got their leisure, hospitality, and resorts. That's where Sterling Holiday Resorts comes in.
And last but not least, digiphoto imaging services.
All right, so performance-wise.
Yeah, how do you segment do?
Well, travel and related services, they're the star this quarter. EBIT growth of 55% year on year.
Wow. So both domestic and international travel are back in a big way, huh?
Big way, yep. Tells you something about the overall recovery, too.
Makes sense. Everyone was cooped up for so long. But it's not just revenge travel, is it? The report mentioned growth in their corporate travel and MIC business as well.
Right, so it's not just individuals. Businesses are sending people out again, meetings, conferences, all of them.
Points to a wider economic recovery then, maybe.
Could be. Now, Sterling Holiday Resorts, they're having a good quarter, too. EBIT up 24%.
Staycations, domestic travel. Seems like that trend's here to stay.
What's impressive, they're now at over 3,000 rooms across 54 resorts. 5 new resorts launched just this quarter.
Busy bees!
And they're debt-free with strong cash flow. Gotta love that.
Smart management for sure, especially in this sector. Financial services did well too. EBIT margins jumped from 37.4% to 38.8% in Q2.
So even with all the new digital financial tools, those traditional travel money services are still important.
People like that familiarity, especially with foreign currencies, I guess.
Trust factor, definitely. But it's not all sunshine and roses. Digiphoto imaging services, they're facing some headwinds.
Yeah, their sales and EBIT are down this quarter.
Report mentioned the closure of their USA business, also geopolitical tensions affecting some key markets. UAE, for instance.
Right. Reminder that even with a good overall picture, external factors can hit certain parts hard.
Exactly. Shows why that diversification strategy is so key.
One segment's down, the others can hopefully pick up the slack. Okay, let's get into some specifics now. Thomas Cook India is clearly going digital.
Full steam ahead. And it seems to be paying off.
Yeah, like what specifically?
Their video KYC for Forex bookings, huge success. And the growth in Forex transactions through WhatsApp. Exploding.
Wow, sorting your foreign exchange through WhatsApp. That's wild. Talk about convenient.
It really speaks to how tech-savvy Indian travelers are becoming. They want that ease, that digital experience.
Makes you think, could this be the future of financial services in the travel sector?
It's a good question. Now, it's not just about convenience either. It's about crafting new experiences. Their partnership with Malaysia Aviation Group hints at exciting new destinations.
Ooh, Malaysia. Appeals to so many different types of travelers.
Exactly. City life, beaches, rainforests, you name it.
And for the sports fans, they've partnered with Cricket Australia for the upcoming Border Gavaskar Trophy.
Smart move. Tapping into that passionate cricket fan base, it's offering something more than just flights and hotels.
It's about those unique experiences. Before we move on, let's talk financials. As of September 30th, 2024, Thomas Cook India Group had Rs. 18,885 millidotars in cash and bank balances.
Healthy, very healthy. Strong free cash flow, good interest coverage ratio too, means they're well positioned to manage debt and, crucially, fund future growth.
Okay, so we've covered the segments, the interesting bits from the reports, their financial health. But what does it all actually mean?
Right, gotta connect the dots. If we zoom out, we get insights into the Indian tourism industry as a whole.
Go on.
Thomas Cook, India's performance across most segments, suggests a robust recovery for the sector. People are traveling again, domestically and internationally. Great news for the Indian economy.
A comeback story for sure after the pandemic slump.
Big time. But we can't ignore the global economic factors. Inflation, fuel prices, they're still volatile.
True. Higher fuel costs could mean pricier flights, which could hurt demand. And inflation might squeeze their profit margins. A lot to balance.
Yeah, a delicate dance. But that's where their diversified business model might help. One segment slows down, the others could cushion the blow.
So what we're seeing with Thomas Cook, India, is more than just a traditional travel agency. They're becoming this tech-savvy, experience-driven travel and financial services powerhouse.
You got it. And they're doing it with a solid financial base. That's what makes this story so interesting.
Agreed. What stands out most to you from all of this?
Honestly, their agility. To navigate a pandemic, adapt to how quickly consumer behavior is changing, A&D capitalize on the travel rebound, that's impressive. Takes foresight and operational efficiency, that's for sure. What about you?
For me, it's their digital success. That whole video, KYC, and WhatsApp for Forex thing, it shows they're willing to embrace technology and meet customers where they are.
Smart move, definitely. Especially in a market like India, where people are becoming so comfortable with digital transactions.
Absolutely. And their investments in new travel experiences, like the partnership with Malaysia Aviation Group, are really exciting.
Malaysia's a great pick. Something for every kind of traveler there. Cities, beaches, rainforests, it's a savvy choice.
Plus, they're tapping into the growing demand for experiential travel. People don't just want to see the sights anymore, they want to immerse themselves. Local culture, new activities, making memories.
Which is where those partnerships come in, like with Cricket Australia, offering travel packages tied to big sporting events, tapping into a passionate fan base, offering once-in-a-lifetime experiences.
Speaking of unique experiences, we can't forget Sterling Holiday Resorts. Their expansion strategy is something else, and a key growth driver for the group.
They've got a presence all over India, hill stations, beaches, jungles, something for everyone.
And it's not just about expanding, they're delivering on customer satisfaction too. Consistently high ratings on platforms like TripAdvisor shows they're focused on exceeding expectations, which is key for building loyalty and getting repeat customers.
For sure, Sterling's a valuable asset, contributing significantly to their growth and profitability.
Definitely. But as we talked about earlier, not all segments are doing equally well. Digiphoto Imaging Services is facing some hurdles. The closure of their USA business and the impact of geopolitical tensions, especially in places like the UAE, have taken their toll.
It's a reminder that even with the best-laid plans, external factors can come into play.
Unfortunate. But it also highlights their resilience. They're adapting by exploring new markets, focusing on regions with growth potential. Their recent partnerships in the Maldives, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and China show they're serious about expanding globally and diversifying their revenue streams. It's also worth noting that Thomas Cook, India, is part of the Fairfax Group, a major player in financial services globally. Gives them access to a huge network, financial expertise, and solid backing, which can help navigate tough times.
Absolutely. That kind of support is invaluable in a competitive industry like travel and tourism.
So to sum up this part of our deep dive, it's clear Thomas Cook, India, is doing more than just surviving. They're thriving. They're adapting to the changing travel landscape, embracing digital innovation, and making the most of the travel rebound.
They're a company with a rich history, but they're constantly reinventing themselves to stay ahead of the curve. Their financial strength and diverse approach set them up well for continued growth and success. Which brings us to an interesting thought. This isn't just about one company, though. It's a window into how the whole travel industry is changing.
Like they're a mini version of the big picture, right? For travel in India and maybe even globally.
Yeah, exactly. Think about it, this whole digital push, the focus on personalized experiences, catering to specific interests, like that Cricket Australia partnership. These are trends that are only going to get bigger.
Makes you wonder, what will travel even look like in 5–10 years?
Ooh, good question. Imagine AI platforms that plan your entire trip based on your personality. Or VR and AR becoming a standard part of the travel experience. Like, you could explore a destination virtually before you even book your flight.
Whoa, that's kind of mind-blowing. And what about accessibility, affordability? Could tech make travel possible for people who couldn't even consider it before?
That's the big question, isn't it? Technology could streamline things, bring down costs, open up new possibilities, but there's also the risk of things getting even more consolidated. The big players with the best tech could end up dominating everything.
So it's a double-edged sword. Innovation can level the playing field, but it can also create new barriers.
Right. And it's not just about the tech, it's about how companies use it. Will they put customers first? Will they innovate responsibly? Or is it all about profits?
Big ethical questions there. We as consumers have to demand transparency, hold companies accountable.
Absolutely. But let's circle back to digiphoto imaging services for a sec. They're facing challenges, sure, but there are lessons to be learned.
Yeah. Their USA closure, those geopolitical tensions, it shows how interconnected the global economy really is. Even well-established businesses aren't immune to external shocks.
Underscores the importance of spreading your bets, being able to adapt. It's good that Thomas Cook, India, is strong in other areas to help offset those digiphoto losses. Shows good planning.
And they're willing to make tough calls, closing down what's not working to protect the company long term.
Exactly. Plus, they're exploring new markets, those partnerships in the Maldives, Indonesia, all that. It's a proactive approach to growth.
It's fascinating how they're dealing with all this complexity while also jumping on the digital bandwagon and pushing the boundaries of what a travel experience can be. They're never standing still, always adapting, evolving to stay ahead of the game.
And that brings us right back to the future of travel. What Thomas Cook India is doing today could become the standard for the whole industry tomorrow.
It's a reminder that this isn't a static industry. It's constantly changing, responding to travelers, to tech, to world events.
And that's what makes it so exciting. There's always something new, something to learn.
So true. I think it's safe to say that this deep dive into Thomas Cook, India, has been a real journey.
It has. We've uncovered insights into the company, into the state of Indian travel, and even into those bigger forces shaping the future of how we all explore the world.
And hopefully we've gotten people thinking about some important questions. The role of technology, ethical considerations, the need for companies to be nimble and flexible.
Absolutely. Questions that will keep popping up as we watch this industry evolve. It's dynamic and fascinating stuff.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one last thought-provoking question.
Ooh, a cliffhanger. Love it. Lay it on me.
Okay, so we've seen how Thomas Cook India is going all in on digital and creating these immersive travel experiences. The question is, how might these innovations, particularly that digital push, shape the future of travel in India specifically? Will it make travel more accessible and affordable for everyone? Will it help smaller players compete? Or will it lead to even more dominance by big companies like Thomas Cook India?
That's a great question, and one worth really thinking about. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, how these digital moves impact not just what travelers do, but also the whole landscape of the Indian travel industry.
And that, my friends, is something we'll have to keep our eyes on. The future of travel, unfolding right before us.
Buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. But in the meantime, let's shift gears a bit. Remember digiphoto imaging services? We talked about their struggles earlier, but I think their story offers a really important lesson. What do you think?
You're right, there's a lot to unpack there. It's easy to get caught up in the success stories, the shiny new tech, and forget that there are real challenges out there.
Exactly. And in a way, digiphoto's situation is a microcosm of the risks and uncertainties that come with operating in a globalized world.
Yeah, the closure of their USA business, the impact of those geopolitical tensions, it shows how interconnected everything is. What happens on one side of the world can ripple out and affect businesses everywhere.
And that's a lesson that applies not just to travel companies, but to businesses of all kinds. We're all operating in a complex, ever-changing environment.
So what can businesses learn from this? What steps can they take to mitigate these risks?
Well, I think diversification is key. Thomas Cook, India's strong performance in other segments, is helping to cushion the blow from digiphoto's losses. It shows the importance of not putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Makes sense. Spreading your risk across different markets, different products, different services.
Exactly. And then there's adaptability. The world is changing faster than ever, and businesses need to be able to pivot quickly to stay ahead of the curve.
That means being open to new ideas, embracing innovation, and maybe even being willing to disrupt your own business model before someone else does.
It's not easy, but it's essential for survival in today's dynamic environment. And I think Thomas Cook, India's willingness to embrace digital transformation is a great example of that.
It's interesting to see how they're balancing that digital push with their more traditional travel offerings. It's like they're bridging the gap between the old and the new.
And that's a smart strategy because it allows them to cater to a wider range of customer preferences. Some travelers are comfortable booking everything online, while others still prefer that personal touch, talking to a travel agent, getting advice and recommendations.
It's about meeting customers where they are, whether that's online, in a physical store, or through a combination of both.
And it's also about recognizing that the travel landscape is constantly evolving. What works today might not work tomorrow, so businesses need to be constantly learning and adapting.
It's a continuous journey, just like travel itself. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Thomas Cook, India's Q2 results, let's step back and consider the bigger picture. What are the key trends shaping the travel industry as a whole?
Well, we've already touched on a few of them. Digitalization is a huge factor, as we've seen with Thomas Cook, India's success with things like video KYC and WhatsApp transactions.
Yeah, technology is changing every aspect of the travel experience, from how we book our trips to how we interact with destinations.
And then there's the growing demand for personalization. Travelers want experiences that are tailored to their individual needs and interests. They want to feel like they're discovering something unique, something authentic.
It's not just about ticking off landmarks on a checklist anymore. It's about creating meaningful connections with places and people.
And that's where the rise of experiential travel comes in. People want to immerse themselves in local cultures, try new activities, learn new skills. They want to come home with stories, not just souvenirs.
And we're seeing travel companies respond to these trends by offering more specialized packages, more niche experiences, more opportunities for authentic engagement.
It's a fascinating evolution, and it will be interesting to see how it continues to unfold.
One thing's for sure, the future of travel is bright, full of exciting possibilities, and we, as travelers, are lucky to be along for the ride. What a fantastic conversation this has been. We've explored Thomas Cook, India's performance, delved into the evolving landscape of the travel industry, and even pondered the ethical implications of technological advancements.
And along the way, I think we've sparked some really important questions for our listeners to consider. How will these trends shape their own travel experiences? How can they be more conscious and responsible travelers? And what role will technology play in the future of travel?
These are questions worth pondering. But for now, we've reached the end of our journey. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Thomas Cook, India, and the future of travel.
Until next time, happy travels, everyone.
It's like a travel tech race, almost. Whoever can leverage that power to deliver these seamless, personalized experiences, they're going to win.
And think about what that means for us, the travelers. Booking a trip where everything is tailored to you, flights, accommodation, activities, even restaurants.
No more stress planning. And if AI can handle it efficiently, could make travel more affordable too.
It's not just about cost, though, it's access. Technology could open up those remote destinations, the niche experiences that were hard to find or book before.
Now that's exciting. Could really democratize travel in a whole new way.
But there's the flip side too, right? As tech gets fancier, we risk losing that human touch, that personal connection that makes travel so special.
Right, got to strike a balance. Automation is great, but we don't want travel to become sterile and impersonal.
Exactly. Use tech to enhance, not replace the human element entirely.
So, reflecting on this whole deep dive into Thomas Cook, India, what's the one big thing you're taking away?
Their adaptability to go through a pandemic, embrace this whole digital wave. A&D lead the charge in creating new travel experiences. That's inspiring. They're not afraid to evolve, to push the boundary.
I totally agree. And their story really reflects those bigger trends we're seeing. Personalization, going digital, focusing on unique experiences, it's only going to get more intense in the coming years.
So as travelers, we've got a lot to look forward to. But we also have a responsibility, right? To be informed, to demand ethical practices, to support companies that are sustainable and innovative in a good way.
Well said. This deep dive has given us a lot to think about, not just about Thomas Cook, India, but about the future of travel itself. And that's what we're all about, isn't it? Giving our listeners new knowledge, fresh perspectives, and a sense of wonder about the world.
Exactly. So whether you're a seasoned traveler or just starting out, stay curious, keep asking questions, and never stop exploring.
And if you ever feel overwhelmed by all the info out there, you know where to find us, ready to take a deep dive into any topic that catches your eye.
Until next time, happy travels, everyone.